3 الماضيين في إطار رؤية الدولة لتنمية الصناعة. والحقيقة يمكن يعني النهاردة الواحد حقيقة سعيد جدا إن احنا النهاردة نشوف مع بعض نتاج جهد الحقيقة من الدولة المصرية لجذب استثمارات خارجية ولتعظيم العائد من قطاع الصناعة. ويمكن امبارح الحقيقة كلنا كنا بنشرف بتواجد فخامة رئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي واحنا بنفتتح مصنع او مجمع المرحلة الجديدة من مجمع الأسمدة الأزوتية. وحضراتكم بس انا حابب ان انا استعيد يعني مداخلات فخامة الرئيس لما اتكلم ان يعني كان هناك دائما ما يثار ان الدولة مش مركزة على قطاعي الصناعة والزراعة، بل على العكس. هو الحقيقة قطاعات الصناعة والزراعة كانت على قمة أولويات الدولة على مدار الفترة السابقة. ولكن زي ما حضراتكم شايفين أي مشروع النهاردة عشان يبدأ مرحلة العمل ويبدأ عملية الإنتاج بياخد على الأقل من 3 إلى 4 سنوات. وإحنا دايما اتعودنا إن إحنا ما نتكلمش على حاجة إلا إذا كانت أصبحت على أرض الواقع وبقت موجودة على الأرض ونبدأ نعرضها للناس. وعشان كده يمكن فخامة الرئيس امبارح لما اتكلم على هذا المشروع مشروع الأسمدة الأزوتية واتكلم على حجم المشروع ده قد إيه والجهد اللي بذل فيه عشان يطلع هذا المجمع العملاق، أخذ بمراحله الاثنين الحقيقة عدد من لا بأس به من السنوات على الرغم من الضغط الشديد في العمل. ولكن هو ده طبيعة الصناعة والإنتاج الصناعي. النهاردة الحقيقة يمكن والنقطة اللي عايز أكد عليها امبارح
The point I want to emphasize on is the Egyptian state is keen to encourage the private sector and that we support the private sector in industrial projects, but there are some strategic industries that the country knows the private sector can't afford, so the country concentrates on these projects like the projects we saw yesterday. The country is keen to complete what the private sector can't achieve. Today we inspected 10 projects. 8 of them are factories, new factories. They are already working or in the state of experimental trial. If we look at these projects, I want to emphasize that all these industries and products were imported before, but now the President encourages us to establish more factories. As we can see that we are making big land reclamation projects and we can import more products for land reclamations. We inspected 2 factories today, which is fiber optics, 2 factories for producing fiber optics. Before we used to import all these products. We encouraged investors to come to Egypt and establish the factories here. I talked to factories owners and they said that we came to Egypt because we found that there are many incentives here and that the local market is in need of these products. They are now giving these products to Haya Karima initiative, in addition to communication projects that use these fiber optics. Egypt has the chance to attract more factories that closed in other countries and are looking for other places to work from. Egypt now, today we inspected many factories that moved to Egypt or opened new branches for them here in Egypt. For example, the one we inspected today, it moved from China to Egypt. It is producing fabrics. This is one of the 5 big factories in the whole world. We are working the state on all elements to close the gap between importing and exporting.
أنا عايز بس إحنا يمكن ما بنحبش دايما نتكلم كثيرا على حاجات ممكن لغاية لما تتنفذ، ولكن يمكن في أثناء زيارتنا للمنطقة الخاصة بشركة اللي هي الشركة الصينية المصرية.
When we visited the Chinese company today, the president of the company was keen to tell me that 7 big companies, Chinese companies, are keen to come or move their factories to Egypt with investment of $5 billion in the coming 5 years. And these factories will produce $8 billion. I told the president of the region that I will meet the owners of these projects as they are coming to Egypt soon. What I emphasize is that Egypt is working so hard on industry and on boosting industries in Egypt and offering many incentives for investors so as to decrease imports and increase exports. The real problem in industry is that it takes some time. We need some patience as these factories take time to operate. I'd like also to talk about one point, which is on the land reclamation projects, as Egypt is implementing these days the new Delta, Sinai, Toshka projects. 3 million fathans are now reclaimed. The president said that transportation and all the projects are implemented to serve these projects are so big. I'd like to say that this project, the treatment of water project in Delta, all these projects and the infrastructure projects related to it is 3 times more than the high dam. Simply, this project, from an engineering point of view, is 3 times more than the high dam. The high dam was built. It took 10 years to build the high dams. From 1960 to 1970. This project, which is 3 times bigger than the high dam, will take only 3 years to get implemented, as if we are making 3 high dams in 3 years. I'm just wanting to stress on the big effort done by the Egyptian state. The president yesterday said that Bahr al-Baqar treatment water project was inaugurated, and the new one that will be built For new delta, we have 12 million meters per day, and 1 million in Sarabian. Now we have 13 million. If we multiply this in 365 days, we will find that we are approaching from 5 billion meter annually. So we are reviving 10% of Egypt's quota. All this water was used in irrigation, and it was yes.
لكن النهارده كان توجيه سيادة الرئيس والرؤية احنا مش عايزين نسيب نقطة مية واحدة.
The president said that we should make use of every drop of water, even if it is used before. So what is done now is something great, as we are taking this water from all drainage stations. I will take this water and use it in cultivation. I will give an example that why we are rushing. We have to notice that if we lose time, we will lose opportunities. We need to add 3 million faddans more. If I cultivate them with wheat, and if the land has 2.5 tons of faddans, so now I'm talking about 7.5 million tons, I will not import them, but I will cultivate them here in Egypt. They are worth now $2.5 billion per year to import the wheat. If I'm late, then I will lose the opportunity of saving all this amount of money. That's why we are rushing in all these projects. So that's why we are saving time for the sake of the state. I'm giving an example that from 40 years we were less than 40 million. We are now more than 100 million. 60 million more were added to the population. That's why we are rushing and implementing these projects. As the President said, that this is for the first time that we are encouraging the farmer to cultivate strategic crops. We started with cotton, now wheat, maize, sunflower. 5 important crops are very strategic. To encourage all farmers to cultivate them. This is the vision by the country, and it is implementing it so that to boost the industry sector here in Egypt and agriculture sector as well. I want to thank God that this is that what is taking place is very important, and that we will see the products later.
الحركة السياحية.
I was talking with the Minister of Tourism about the tourism sector.
كلنا بنقدرها، ولكن خلينا نتكلم برضو الدولة بتعمل
The country is the country in 2022
احنا كان عندنا 11.7
we have 11.7 million tourists.
احنا في 2019 اللي هي تعتبر
In
كانت
2019
افضل السنين في تاريخ مصر قبل ما نبدا موضوع كورونا، كنا بنتكلم في
we have
13 مليون سايح.
13 million
لكن
tourists.
حقيقة السنة اللي فاتت
But last year
العائد المادي
the revenues
اللي
from
جالنا
tourism
من 11.7 هو كان
was
الأعلى في تاريخ
the
مصر.
highest in Egypt's history.
لكن الأهم وده
But
اللي إن
what
شاء
is
الله
more
بإذن
important
الله، لأن ده كان شغل الدولة، إن إحنا بنستهدف هذا العام زيادة
is
عن
what is more
23
important
بإذن
that
الله
our target in
28%.
2023
يعني
is
بنتكلم على إن شاء
28%
الله إن
more.
شاء الله 15 مليون سائح.
I'm talking about 15 million
وده الحقيقة
tourists.
برضو ما جاش لمجرد إن إحنا بنقول أصل الظروف جت وخدمتنا، لا، في كان جهد وفي كان طلبات الدولة اشتغلت عليها.
We worked on
أكد حضراتكم
the
على سبيل
tourism
المثال
file,
رفع كفاءة المطارات،
increasing the efficiency of infrastructure and airports.
نقلة كبيرة جدا في مطارات،
We
أنشأنا
made
مطارات
a
جديدة،
great leap
مطار العلمين، سفنكس،
in
مطارات
the field of airports. We established new airports like Al Alamein.
بنرفع كفاءة كل
We
مطاراتنا.
increased the efficiency of all the airports like Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada. Cairo Airport and Luxor are under development to increase their efficiency. There was one request more.
هقولها كده يعني بطريقة يعني
I will say it
مهذبة،
in a respectful way that what was
السياحة اللي بتيجي لينا والأعداد الأوبريتورز أو
that,
المشغلين العالميين
that the operators
وخطوط الطيران
and airlines
لأن كان قدرات مصر الطيران ما تكفيش
were
لوحدها هذا الموضوع. عشان كده كانت الاستراتيجية اللي نفذناها مع وزير الطيران ووزير السياحة إن إحنا نتوسع في عدد الطيارات.
we increased the ports, we increased the planes and the low cost flights to encourage tourists. We rented a big number of planes, and this enables us to achieve this target of 15 million tourists. We made incentives to tourism operators. The number of hotel rooms is 230,000 rooms. To achieve the target of 30 million tourists, we have to build more hotel rooms. So now we have the chance to support this sector to reach this goal soon. The important sectors, the important economic sectors I'm talking about are on the top of our agenda. We also talk about the new budget and
ترجمتها لمجموعة من القوانين اللي النهارده هتبقى كلفتها زي ما قلت لحضراتكم في العام 150 مليار إضافية على الحزم الأخرى اللي موجودة. احنا بنشتغل كدولة بالتوازي. We are working as a country in many sectors. Every day there is a problem. On the past 2 days we have a crisis like some financial crisis in international banks. This is a challenge, and we see the repercussions of these crises on Egypt. I'd like to thank you. Thank God. I'm happy to make this tour, and we emphasize on Egypt's keenness to support private sector and engage them in all development projects.